when I got the brief to talk at the summit, I thought this was exciting, and then I kind of thought, why me? You know, I'm not a doctor. I know nothing about medicine, and here's some of the best people in the world sitting, watching me. Then I thought, well, yeah, but I'm a professional patient. I've been doing this for 7 years. My story is very much the same as, I think, thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of people in business who want to get forward in business, who spend a lot of time and energy working long hours to advance and maybe to earn more money. There was no difference. I was out riding with my horse in the beautiful countryside around Philadelphia, and there was a hunter behind me, and he shot his gun and spooked my horse, and the horse threw me, and I was having a lot of pain. I thought it was maybe I'd broken a rib, so I went to see the family doctor, who said, well, no, there's nothing much wrong with you, it'll go over. But he said, I'll send you to a specialist anyway. He sent me to an Indian doctor, and the pain was on the right-hand side, and he said, I'm going to look at the left-hand side. Then he called me in and said, well, the bad news is you have a big lesion on your kidney. It has to come out. The good news is Steven Spielberg has it as well, and he's been living for the last 15 years. And that was it. I was out into the cold. I didn't even know what a lesion was. So I phoned my wife and said, I've got a lesion. And I think she was even more surprised than I was. It was almost, have you bought one? Or, you know, where did it come from? And then I found out what it was. I went and Googled it. And this was, of course, a shock. And I did something which I'm glad I did, because I live near Valley Forge Park. So I went out for a long walk in the park. I thought, you know, this nature is so beautiful, I don't want to leave this yet. I have so many things left to do, but they're different things than what I've been doing. And went back, they took out the kidney, it was no problem. Of course, the next thing was they found other forms of cancer. And two years later I got colon cancer. And that was the start of a long journey, a 7-year journey with removing part of the colon and then the spread of the disease. And then I started to think, stop, this isn't working. If I'm going to be a survivor in this, and not just a victim, I have to be proactive myself. "90% of what you do, you've done before." Like, you know, I drive the same way to work, and somebody suggested, well, can't you drive the other way today because I have to pick up something? And I noticed an immediate resistance in myself. You know, why couldn't he have done this yesterday? Which is completely stupid, you know, because it's like 5 minutes out of my way. And then I realized I've eaten the same breakfast more or less for the last 30 years, which isn't very adventurous. And if you're supposed to be in charge of innovation, as a cancer patient, you live in kind of 3-month cycles. You have treatment for 3 months, and then you have a scan, then you wait a couple of weeks, and you come into the executioner's room who tells you what's happening. And in the beginning I was scared stiff of this and always felt that it's going to be worse, it's going to be worse. Till I got to the point of thinking, there's no point in this at all. If I go from the perspective of there are different stages of getting well, and this is one of them, even if it doesn't look like it, then why do I go in and think I'm ill and he's going to tell me I'm even more ill? You know, everyone gets depressed. So I try and take that approach that, okay, it's increased slightly, but that gives me a reason to think of different things to do, different ways to do it, rather than, oh well, I might as well get depressed, sit on the sofa, take some tablets, watch a depressing series on television, and that's it. You know, and wait for the next 3 months, which are things you learn. And I think cancer is a very good teacher, because cancer teaches you to be humble, for the first. It also teaches you to see there's always somebody worse off than you are. But there are so many options, and excuse me, by working together and by opening up from both sides, you can create a team which is going to make life better for both the doctors and the team treating the patient, but also the patient starts feeling a little bit less like a patient, but more like a human being who's getting help. And anything that can give hope, every time you meet some little thing that can give you hope without distorting reality, is worth so much. I read that in 2030 or 40, 70% of the world's population will live in cities. And most of these cities are absolutely not built for that migration, which is going to cause amazing differences, problems, divisions, infrastructure problems, health problems, which kind of worries me in a way. I think it's the better we integrate nature into cities and rethink urban development to sustainable places where children can grow up in cities. I think in the future, cities and city mayors will become more important than politicians, because they're growing. You know, Tokyo's 35.2 million today, and that's a force to be reckoned with. And the city mayors are pragmatic. They have to get things done, or they're not there in the future. So they're working with building walkways and green areas and improving schools, bringing mindfulness into schools, etc., etc. That's where the change is coming from. And then in turn, these cities will work with companies they think fit into the picture of the future that they're looking at. So the really visionary city mayors I think will be the new leaders in sustainable development. A lot of patients, when they find out they have cancer, and they're given maybe a certain amount of time to live, they live that amount of time and then they die. And I didn't want to be one of those. I wanted to gradually increase my resistance and get my immune defenses working. Suzanne, my wife, is very good at research and doing things and finding out, what are the best things to increase immune defenses. What's the best food? What's the best way of exercising? But also very much in thinking. She helped me a lot by positive thinking, which begins in thinking in the now. What's happening now? The future is not important, the past is already there, so you can't do anything about it. So get the most out of living now, enjoy it. And that really helped me a lot.